My hair is driving me nuts at the moment. I'm going to go and get it all cut off. Anyway, this is another mailbag session. These are the questions and comments you leave on this channel, which I do my very best to answer. So, diving straight in. From Yam Delgado, in response to, is the Audiostation consideration for live VST playing? And I only did this a couple of months ago. I did it in September, actually. I did the actual video while I was out of the country in Africa. Hello, I'm glad you noticed my comment in the Muse Receptor video and make this video now. I was looking for an in-deep point of view about the Seelake Audiostation. Smiley face. Actually, I'm kind of rethinking about buying it. Not sure yet, because taking into account the price, well, maybe instead I can buy a Mini Mac using main stage 3, buy an audio card, and I still have money left to spend if we consider the price of the Audiostation. But honestly, I still don't know. I think I will wait a little longer to see what their plans are about Windows 7 being outdated. Just as you say, I have noticed not very much YouTube content or users of this device talking about it. But what can I tell is that I've contacted them directly via email, asked some geeky questions about their products, and they answered very fast with great care, all in English. Thanks for the video. I found it very useful. Well, you're welcome. And I've sort of kind of been keeping my eye on the Audiostation or the Seelake Audio website just to see what's going on with their product. And I have to be honest and say the website really doesn't seem to be updated very much, which I don't get a lot of comfort from that. I think the product, if I'm brutally honest, is quite a lot. I agree it's a lot of workstation. It covers a lot of functionality, but you pay for that. But I do like the concept. Like you pulled out my original video, I'm concerned, like that of the Muse Receptor, that they've sort of gone down this customized OS path. And are now at the point where the OS is being retired, as in Windows 7, because it goes out of extended support with Microsoft January 2020, so in the new year, effectively. And they need to spend time, possibly money, porting the functionality to a different platform. So they've got two avenues here. They can either go onto a Linux kernel, which is kind of where this thing went, or they can go onto a Windows 10 kernel. And I suspect that that's not really a 5-minute job, because I'm going to guess that they've layered a lot of their own customizable chunks of code into the operating system to make this thing bulletproof. Because you need something that when you go on stage and you're doing this stuff live, you need something that is bulletproof. And if it's not bulletproof, people are not going to buy it. So it has to be bulletproof, which was probably why I was a bit surprised when I saw the original system was using a Windows-based kernel. The Muse Receptor used, I'm going to get this wrong because I'm not looking at my notes. The Muse Receptor, I think, was a Linux kernel, but everything was custom for it. So I don't know. I'd like to see this system succeed because I think it's got a lot of legs. I have to be honest. I think the whole concept has a lot of legs, especially for bands that are not quite famous enough to have a massive road crew touring with them. This actually makes a lot of sense for those bands that are in that sort of space. Plug in. Everything plugs into the sort of central system. Your mixer's there, all your effects there. You can set your song set list up. Bang, Bob's your uncle. Everything is there at the touch of a switch for the band to just move forward. So it makes, and then 2 leads off to the house PA. Genius, utter genius. But as I say, Muse did the same thing. They went down a custom kernel. Korg did the same thing. As I said with this thing, this is a custom Linux kernel that then got Oasis layered on top of it. And I think this is one of the reasons why this thing, as good as this is, this ultimately probably was considered a failure because they didn't shift that many units of it. It was incredibly expensive when they did bring it out. I mean, I still paid a lot of money for mine when it was second hand, but I didn't pay as much as I thought I was going to have to pay for it. And I think that's why the platform didn't move forward, and it's probably why Korg have invested quite a lot of time and effort into the Kronos, because the Kronos is now what, getting on for nearly 10 years old, I suppose. Actually, the base Kronos, the 2 is what, 5 years old. So there you go. Next one from Rob A, and he writes, great, and I should add that discovery of your channel years ago, searching for how to replace the T1 battery first time, cost me over $100. You saved me a bundle on battery swaps ever since. Well, to be honest, apart from Yamaha, where they have soldered tags onto the board, changing the battery on a keyboard is a relatively simple thing. You just have to have your wits about you and proceed very carefully. And I think that's kind of what I sort of gave out in the T1 video. I mean, this was actually in response to Not Quite 909 Day video I put. But reason I pulled this comment out was when people leave comments on the channel like this, it sort of kind of makes the time I spend doing this sort of stuff, and obviously making the technical videos about the keyboards themselves, worthwhile. You know, yes, the channel does make a few pennies, and I really mean it just makes a few pennies. It's not a money spinner. It's not one of these ones where I put the thing up and say, look at the amount of money I've made. It's not done for that. The channel doesn't make money. It's really done because I genuinely love playing these things. Okay, I get such a kick out of playing legacy tech. I get a kick out of playing the piano. I get a kick out of playing synthesizers. I get a kick out of composing my own stuff. Although most of it I think is complete garbage when I finish with it, but that's a different kettle of fish. So, you know, because of that love, I love this. This is sort of really a way of me sharing what I enjoy doing with you guys, and if you get some tips and tricks out of along the way, then all the better for it. So thanks for the comment. Hope you keep watching. There's more to come. The next one from Paul Rahul, again in response to System 8 Zen Driver ZEN-Core video I did about a month back. I never understood why Roland did not release an 8-voice analog poly after the JD-XA, and the boutiques mainly slayed for only having 4 voices polyphonic, and I agree with that. It would be a mega seller. I can guarantee you. Going back to PCM is exactly what people were not looking for after the Jupiter 80 and the JD-XA already provided so overwhelmingly much in there. You know what? I kind of agree with the comment. That I like the concept of the boutiques. I think the concept of the boutiques, apart from the 3/8 inch decks, what I always moan about every time I have a sort of thing about the boutiques. My hair is driving me nuts. But them being limited to 4 voices, I've always thought was an issue. I really haven't run across it at the moment, but you know, I have a D50 that I can play multiple voices on, whereas I get stuck on the DO5. But the DI5, I kind of use the boutiques in a different way to the way I've used the legacy synthesizers that I have. So that's probably the reason why it's not really hit me as a massive issue at the moment. But I can see the architecture becoming limited. Regarding the PCM architecture of the ZEN-Core, looking at the comments on the channel, a lot of fellow tubers are not in favour of this architecture. It seems to be people have sort of said, well, you know, you're giving us ACB. We loved ACB. Why can't we have more ACB? And the answer to that seems to be from Roland itself, saying that, you know, the ACB architecture that they've chosen to do this modelling capability seems to have some limitations, and those limitations seem to be in horsepower. So they're going to have to, if they want to up from 8-voice polyphony to 16-voice polyphony, maybe a System 16's coming. But maybe if they want to do that, then they're going to have to seriously upgrade the hardware. And maybe it's not a case of just putting a custom ACB chip in. Maybe this is a full-blown computer implementation, much the same as this thing. Because this thing, thinking about this, if you go and look inside an Oasis, there is a standard computer motherboard with a standard Intel chip in it. I think it's got an Intel chip in it that runs the whole shit shebang in there. So maybe Roland would have to go down that route and process everything instead of their sort of custom ACB chip technology. I think maybe they are going to expand the legendary synth range using ACB, but I think the reason why they've gone down the PCM route is this is the fastest way to get the legendary synth range to market at an affordable price level. And I think that's probably the reason I've done it. And my thing is sitting on the fence here and saying, well, okay, what else is to come? I've said that quite a few times recently, and I'm still sticking by my guns. Unless Roland want to give me a demo unit to demo, quite happily to demo. We shall see. And the last one for this section, a quick one from Don Devore, another frequent commenter, and this was in response to the Roland mailbag I did on the MX1, which I just did the whole mailbag on the same video actually, MX1, MX1, MX1 and MX1. Again, this wasn't done that long ago. You guys are leaving a lot of questions on the channel at the moment. Okay, a lot of this stuff, so I apologise if it's taking a while to sort of chunk my way through them. And there were a couple of things on that video. One of them was, can you turn the brightness of the MX1 down? And Don said, wear sunglasses. So that is a classic tip. Most rock stars wear sunglasses. Job done. And then he writes, screensaver mode, he calls it Las Vegas mode, or casino mode, or look at me in the shop mode, or demo mode, or dancing light show mode. It has many names. Many large format digital consoles have this party mode to test all the LEDs, and I never thought about it from that point of view. It's a test of the LEDs. I just thought it was a nice way of letting you know that the little unit was in the corner and you weren't using it, so it flashed at you until you pressed the button. That's kind of my take on this on this whole thing. But it did, the response did put a smile on my face, especially the sunglasses. And I agree that look at me in the shop mode can be distracting, but when I'm sitting in a darkened studio at night, it kind of sort of like, it's quite nice to have all these sort of colours bouncing around the room. Anyway, that's the last one for this section. See you later. Bye-bye. If you liked the content of the video you've just seen, please give it a thumbs up. It just helps the YouTube algorithm with its selection process. If you want to leave a comment, please feel free to do that as well. Down below somewhere should be the ability to do that. I do try to respond to all the comments that are raised on the channel. Sometimes it takes me a few weeks because of what I'm doing, and I'm getting more and more and more comments and questions raised on the channel, so it just takes sometimes a little bit of time to do a bit of research. If you want to be notified when I put more rants, mailbags and videos about this sort of legacy tech and even modern tech on the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon, and you'll be notified by YouTube when stuff happens. I try to publish at least 2 times a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. Until next time, bye-bye.